Misha, and we're going to see some of that here in the coming days.
We're hoping it is nothing like that.
Right,
I do expect a big plume of tropical moisture early next week, but hopefully just a fraction of what we're seeing in that video. That is horrible and super scary, super dangerous. But check out some of the rain totals. The reason why the flooding has been so horrible across South Florida, over 20 inches of rain being estimated by our Fox Red radar, especially between Fort Lauderdale and Miami, and also over towards the Fort Myers area, just extreme amounts of flooding. Thank goodness it hasn't been the case for us as far as the huge flood threat the last 3 days. We picked up on average about 1 to 3 inches of rain for the Houston area over the last few days, and we didn't get much today, and we're quiet tonight. Thank goodness. So we're finally getting a break. Enjoy the break, because some of that tropical moisture will likely spread into our area early next week. But it is still super steamy out there, middle 80s when you factor in that humidity. That feels like temp still in the middle 90s for this time of the night. So bottom line, it is going to be hotter and drier to wrap up the work week, but that is good beach weather if you can handle the heat. But make sure you're careful out there. Take it easy. Try not to overdo it, especially during the hottest part of the day. Of course, we're tracking possible tropical development in the Gulf. That could mean rounds of heavy rain for early next week into the middle part of next week. That chance for maybe a tropical depression, our first tropical depression or tropical storm of the season, increasing a bit. It's up to a medium 40% shot for tonight, and it likely will kind of meander in the southern Gulf of Mexico, trying to get organized through the weekend into early next week. Then if it gets its act together and develops into a system, it would likely push into parts of Mexico as we go into next week. But even though we likely won't get a direct hit from this system, Futurecast shows some of that tropical moisture getting closer as we go into early next week. Not much showing up over Houston through Saturday night, but for Father's Day, especially Sunday evening, I think we will start to get some showers rolling in, and especially on Monday, that's when that moisture really starts to pick up, and that's when we'll likely start to get more of those tropical downpours that can dump 1 to 2 inches of rain in a short period of time and cause more street flooding, exactly what we don't need around here. But at least we do get a break for the next couple of days. If you're going to be hanging out in Houston, going to the park, going to the golf course, going to the beach, middle to upper 90s. So we're cranking up that heat a few notches, and we're lowering the rain chances all the way down to 10%. So you don't have to worry much about rain the next few days. However, things change early next week. In fact, on Father's Day, those rain chances are back up to 40%. So if you are going to be hanging out with Dad, keep in mind you may have to dodge a few showers and storms. It will still be super steamy with those temps in the low to middle 90s, but at least we're holding off most of that rain until next Monday and Tuesday. That's when rain chances really start to spike up to around 70%. And of course, we're talking about deep tropical moisture. So it's going to be that rain that comes down pretty fast, pretty heavy. And like I said, the flood threat likely on the increase. So this model showing likely around 2 to 4 inches of rain for a big chunk of the area through this time next week. And that means, of course, we could be dealing with more of that street flooding. So enjoy the break. The next few days, it's going to be hot. We'll be sizzling out there in the middle to upper 90s, but not much rain around. Father's Day still looking decent. We can still salvage some dry time, only a 40% chance for rain. But then after that, rain becomes more widespread. And yes, there could be some flooding issues. I am certainly keeping my fingers crossed, hoping we're not talking about a foot of rain or 20 to 25 inches of rain like folks in Florida have had to deal with. But of course, the threat is there, and we'll be monitoring it closely.
All right, Misha, thank you so much as always. Hopefully things don't go in that direction.
Right.
Right. Look, there you go.